Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this episode 3749 AN. Today's date is October 9th, 2025, and the title of the episode is Trump Confirms We're Headed Towards $2 Gas Price or Lower. This is just the beginning. Now, I don't know if you know this, but gold has gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere. Prices are climbing. Every day, more and more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold Investments come in. Noble Gold specialists are trained to help investors like you go from confused to confident, from wondering what's next to knowing exactly what to do. Whether you're looking to roll over an old 401k into a gold IRA, or you want physical coins and bars delivered right to your home, Noble Gold makes the process simple, safe, and stress-free. You'll get step-by-step guidance, transparent pricing, and U.S.-based service from teams that handle over $2.5 billion in precious metal transactions. With Noble Gold Investments, protecting and growing your wealth isn't just their job, it's their commitment. Visit x22gold.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit. That is x22gold.com. Noble Gold is helping you build a stronger future, or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum. It's starting to seem that they are going to try to use the shutdown event, number one, to try to keep the rates where they are. They don't want to lower the rates. They might not have a choice, but I think they're going to try to use the shutdown for this. It depends on how long the shutdown goes. But you could see that they're using the shutdown to project that we're entering a recession. We even have Jamie Dimon out there letting everyone know that the market is overheated and we might see some type of correction. There could be a 30% or higher chance of that happening. Now, I remember going back in time when, right before the pandemic hit, George Soros, he was telling everyone that the markets were overheated and the market's going to be coming down, which means they're projecting that something is going to happen, or they're going to try to make something happen. And I do believe what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to bring the economic system into a recession if they can. Number one, by holding the rates steady, keeping the shutdown going. And they're hoping they have the ability to use this event to bring the economic system down. Now, they tried this during the pandemic. It completely and utterly failed. The market came down a little bit, and then it went right back up. Trump had the control. And I think this time around, with Trump's parallel economic system, this is going to be very, very tough. Because remember, Trump eventually can use the money to fund the government. Now, those people in Congress, they could try to stop him. But if he's going after certain programs where the programs feed women, children, and things like that, it's going to be very, very difficult to say, listen, we're not doing this. And think about it, on the world stage, how is this going to look? So this is going to be very, very tough. Plus, Trump is already letting us know that the fuel prices, they're going to be coming down quite a bit. And I do believe as the fuel prices continually fall, which I do believe they're going to really take a huge nosedive probably in 2026, we're going to start to see the economy really start to improve, and people are going to have a lot more money in their pocket. And this is going to be very, very difficult for the deep state players, the central bankers, to push their agenda. But you can see the central bankers, they are now panicking right now. And the IMF is now warning of the global debt. They're saying the global debt is out of control. And think about this for a second. The global debt is out of control because the central bank system depends on debt. That's what they do. And right now they're saying the global public debt will exceed the size of the world economy within 5 years. So basically, without some type of an event, without some type of war to reset the system, their system is going to buckle under the weight of debt, and it will completely and utterly implode. Now, I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they knew that the deep state players, the central bankers, were trying to bring us into the Great Reset, and this is one of the reasons why they were doing it. This is why Trump came in and created the parallel economic system to prepare for the fiat system to implode on itself. Because, again, no matter what, the deep state, the central bankers, they were going to destroy their old system to bring us into the new system. And with Trump creating this incredible parallel economic system using tariffs, using the gold card, using energy sales, using technology sales, it's becoming harder and harder for them to do this. But I do believe they're going to push very hard. And you can see with the shutdown, they're hoping that they can actually push the recession that Biden and Obama have created. They're hoping that with what Trump is doing, the economy doesn't improve. They're hoping that it gets worse and worse. And right now, consumer sentiment is cracking amid the government shutdown. 17% of Americans are delaying major purchases right now because they don't know what is happening. And there's a lot of individuals that are working for the government and they might not be getting paid at this point in time. And this is why we need to create private sector jobs in this country. But once again, like we said from the very, very beginning, JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, he's warning of a potential stock market correction. And he's sounding the alarm for financial professionals and investors, warning the stock market may be overdue for a correction. And I do believe most likely they'll probably try to bring the market down, just like Soros did when he was speaking at Davos right before the pandemic hit. He let everyone know that the market was overheated, it might come down, and all of a sudden the market started to drop. I do believe they're setting up the same exact playbook. They're going to try to do the same exact thing, and they're hoping to use the shutdown for this. Now, once again, the shutdown's going to have to go for quite a while for this to occur, and I'm sure where he's saying there's a 30% chance of a correction, as the shutdown goes along, he'll probably say now it's 40%, now it's 50%, now it's 60%, and they'll build this narrative up. But once again, Trump, since he has the parallel economic system, he can actually fund a lot of the different parts of the government right now, and people wouldn't even realize that there's a problem. And think about it, Trump, during this period of time, what is he doing? He's cutting the waste. He's going to be removing a lot of these jobs, and as he removes them, these are going to be permanently removed, and he's not going to be bringing them back. So I think in the end, we have two things at play here. Trump is using the shutdown to remove a lot of these jobs, and we have the deep state players trying to create an event to bring the system down around Trump, because they know if Trump continually builds the system the way he is, well, as we get closer and closer to the midterms and everything starts to look really good, who do you think people are going to vote for? Well, if people see a lot of jobs, if people see fuel prices going down, if inflation's steady and the market stays high, the people are going to say, wow, this economic system is absolutely incredible. So you can see the deep state players, what they're trying to do is they're trying to push. Now, I don't know if you know this. You're not investing. You're being used. Wall Street, Washington, the Fed, they don't care about your future. They care about control. And as they push their agenda forward, they'll take everything they can from you. Your retirement, your portfolio, your freedom, all of it. The only way to protect yourself is to stop playing their rigged game and untether your wealth from the system they control before it's too late. The simplest way, move your money into a universal asset they can't print, freeze, or devalue. That asset is gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can roll over your retirement into real physical gold and silver. Wealth that's beyond their reach and in your hands. Go to x22gold.com right now to get your free wealth protection kit. That's x22gold.com. Noble Gold, helping you break free and take back control. Or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. Us into a deeper recession, because I do believe Biden and Obama handed off an economy which was completely fake. It was all fake numbers that they were doling out, and the Fed was going along with it. So if you have fake numbers and you really didn't create jobs, and they were faking the rest of all the information, do you really think the economy is that strong? Absolutely not. I think Trump has brought us out of the recession, and I think it's building and building and building, getting better. But I think he has still a little bit ways to go here. He needs the rates to come down to spur the real estate industry, to spur the automobile industry and other industries that are attached to this. And I think he will get there. But, we're at war with the central bank, the deep state players, and they're going to try everything they possibly can. And you can see every step of the way, they're trying to use all these different events. Eventually, when all these fail, I do believe they'll just try the main one, which is a cyber attack and trying to bring us to war. But I think in the end, with what Trump is doing now out in Gaza, I think he's prepared and ready to usher in peace all around the world. So I don't even think that plan is going to work. But since we're shut down and we're in the second week, it looks like the IRS is going to be furloughed and they're going to be put out on the street. And this is half of the IRS. I don't think anyone's going to lose sleep over this. And we know that sooner or later, the IRS is going to be restructured, and the IRS is not going to be what it is today. I do believe this is going to be restructured into the Treasury, just like the Federal Reserve. And as we go along, we can see Trump is building the economic system, and every step of the way, he's reversing everything the Biden administration has done. Remember, when Biden came in, he implemented the Inflation Reduction Act, which was the actual opposite. It was the Inflation Act. And then on top of that, it was the Green New Scam Act. So Trump now, he has inflation steady right now. Remember, he can't go all the way back to 1971 because inflation is cumulative. While Biden was in office, since he's moving towards the Green New Scam, he brought fuel prices way up. Trump is doing what now? The fuel prices are dropping. OPEC right now is going to be producing a lot of oil. And as the oil rigs come online and the oil companies start to drill in this country, we're going to see fuel prices really start to drop. And like I said in the previous reports, I do believe we're going to see fuel prices under $2 a gallon. And Trump, he confirms this. Kobisi Letter put this out and said, President Trump says U.S. gas prices will fall below $2 a gallon soon. This implies a negative 36% drop from the current national average of $3.11 a gallon. The last time the average U.S. gas price was below $2 a gallon was in April of 2020. And really think about it. It's really not that far-fetched, because if Biden can bring the fuel prices all the way up, why can't Trump bring them all the way down? He can. If we're producing oil like crazy in this country and OPEC is producing oil, actually this is a little bit of competition going on, you know that prices are going to fall, and they're going to fall very, very rapidly, which is actually going to help the economy incredibly well. Because what happens when oil prices fall? Well, everything starts to get cheaper. People have a lot more money in their pocket. Deliveries are cheaper. Manufacturing is cheaper. Flights are cheaper. Everything that we do in this country, electricity costs are cheaper. Everything. Heating your home, cheaper. Everything will be cheaper. And people are going to feel good. Now, can you imagine when Trump gets the rates to really come down? Cheaper oil prices, which means cheaper gas prices at the pump, cheaper electricity and everything else, and interest rates very, very low, which means a lot more people have a lot more money in their pocket, which means their buying power has been returned to them. Not fully, but a lot of their buying power has returned. When we start removing the income tax, this is when people really feel the difference. And think about it, the big, beautiful bill, it has really changed the tax rates. And now the tax rates are lower now, so you can earn more money and pay lower tax rates, because now the top level of each of the tax rates has been raised. So this is going to change a lot, and people are going to notice this in their taxes. They're going to see, wow, look what has happened here with the big, beautiful bill. And as we move along, I do believe Trump is preparing for the entire system to reverse itself and go back prior to 1913, where there is no Internal Revenue Service or anything like that. And I do believe tariffs are going to be driving the way. Trump, he put this out on Truth. He said the following: tariffs are only good if you want your country to be rich, influential, and powerful. If you want your country to be a third world country, you should vote against tariffs. And I do believe with Trump now saying that we can use the tariff money because he's bringing in billions and billions and billions of dollars, I do believe with him saying this, people are going to see why the tariff system is so important and how it can fund the government. Not fully yet. Remember, he's building it up right now. He's only had a couple of months, but he's going to continually build it and build it and build it, and it's going to get stronger and stronger every single day. And think about it. Are we going to experience shutdowns? Are we going to experience a debt ceiling? Are we going to experience the fraud in government? No. With a tariff system, all of that all of a sudden just goes away. And everything begins to change. Plus, if we're not borrowing and we're not putting additional currency into circulation, that means we're not going to see inflation. Now, we can ramp up tariffs and bring more currency into this country or with energy sales, but we're not creating the currency. The currency's already there. all we're doing is bringing it back to this country. So is that going to cause inflation? Absolutely not. So this is going to help this country. And I think the people are going to start to see the benefits of all this. So if Trump is using the tariff system and we're not borrowing from the Federal Reserve, because I do believe in the end, that's his entire mission, to wean us off the Federal Reserve, where we're not going to borrow from the Federal Reserve every time we want to do something here. We're going to have money flowing in via tariffs, and there'll be a finite amount. So you'll not be able to create all these ridiculous programs and launder the money out of this country and back into people's pockets or for other reasons. So with this, what we're going to see is we're going to see a very strong economic system. We're going to see the return of the buying power to the people. And the system is going to be very, very different because we're going to be off of the Federal Reserve. And this is going to be absolutely incredible moving forward because the people then are going to experience all this. And as they experience all this, the people are going to say, well, why do we need to go back to a Federal Reserve? Why do we need a central bank? Why do we need that at all? We don't. Because my life is much, much better right now. I have a lot more money in my savings. I have a lot more money in my pocket. And think about it. When we go back to the Constitution and we go back to sound money, this is just going to put the economy over the edge, which means that people's money is going to be worth quite a bit. I mean, if you go back prior to 1913, you were able to purchase things for pennies or nickels. Today, they don't even want to create the penny because it's too expensive to create the penny. Should that ever happen in a sound money system? No, it only happens in a fiat system where the money is worth nothing. And that should show you right there. This is what happens over time. If you can't produce the money because it's too expensive, that means your currency is worth absolutely nothing. And I do believe in the end, we're going to see everything reversed. And we're going to see the true value of the alternative currencies. When I say true value of the alternative currencies, I'm talking about gold. I'm talking about silver. I think silver is close to 50 or hit $50 now, $50 an ounce. We're going to see both of these start to move. Yes, they're going to have fluctuations here and there, but overall, what you're going to see is you're going to see these really start to move because once again, you have to remember the deep state, the central bankers, they've been keeping gold and silver way, way down because again, if they didn't have manipulation and they just allowed gold to do what it does, which is a hedge against fiat currency, we'd be looking at $25,000, $30,000 an ounce of gold, probably $900, $1,100 worth of silver. So again, these are just estimates. So if people ever saw that, what would people think? Like, what is going on here? Does that mean the fiat currency is not worth anything? Because that means you need 20,000 of those pieces of paper to buy that same ounce of gold. People are going to have questions. People are going to wonder why we have to do this. And I think this is where we're headed. We're headed back to the sound money policies. And I do believe with everything that Trump is doing right now, with all the different pieces that he's putting together, I do believe this is exactly where we're headed. And once we're there, the rest of the world is going to follow. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.